Ladies and gentlemen, William Barr resigned. I did a segment on that prior to this one. I'm going to do another segment. Very important news. I believe he's resigning before Julian Assange will be pardoned and before a major round of declassified material released to the public. I don't have any inside knowledge. Both of those things, I'm simply, one, Pastor Mark Burns today stated that Julian Assange will be pardoned. Then he recanted the statement. But something tells me, based on the buzz, that it's accurate. His initial statement was accurate, that Assange indeed will be pardoned, as he should be. I've written 3 articles on that. 2 in the Daily Caller, 1 in the Times of Israel, for him to be pardoned and free. He deserves freedom. He's a publisher. And there's zero evidence. Like, they didn't, not only did they not charge him with, or even accuse him in a legal sense of working alongside Russian intelligence officials, no indictment linked to that, because they have nothing on that, because they fabricated the whole thing. But everything he published, the Washington Post, the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, all of them published, the Guardian. So it's like, who's next? The Washington Post journalist that actually wrote about the stories published by Assange first. But hit subscribe to this channel. We're on our way to 200,000 subscribers. Tell your friends about this channel. And if you want to support my work, my Patreon is on hagoodman.com. You can also subscribe to my newsletter on hagoodman.com. But hit subscribe right this second. I also have a Rumble account that I started. Subscribe there as well. And I have another channel on YouTube, H.A. Goodman's Other Channel. That's on my website also. But hit subscribe to this channel. I want to read you this. Before we get to Julian Assange, I want to read you this. This is very, very interesting. Very interesting. The Washington Post. U.S. judge, do Trump's tweets or White House lawyers speak for president on declassifying entire Russia probe? Okay, this is October 16th, 2020. Notice the fear, like the anxiety. They just can't, they can't possibly imagine that President Trump would do the things he does. And that's why people love him. That's why people vote for Trump, because he is an outsider. He can be a billionaire. I mean, he's an insider when it comes to a whole lot of things, from business to, in many ways, politics. But in terms of D.C. and Washington, he's a complete outsider. And we have an intelligence apparatus and community. I love when they say intelligence community. You see, like, John Brennan walking his dog, and James Comey, mowing his lawn. Hi, neighbor. What a nice community. They've been wrong about every major event in U.S. history. Bay of Pigs, dreadfully wrong. JFK learned not to trust them after the Bay of Pigs. The Gulf of Tonkin, that led to Vietnam and all the lessons that we should have learned from Vietnam. Primarily also not to trust the wonderful IC. Then from the Bay of Pigs, Gulf of Tonkin, WMD, I don't need to talk about that. And then you have Facebook ads, and then before Facebook ads that they fabricated into being a factor in 2016. 20 years ago, you had the worst day in U.S. history that, of course, the IC was asleep at the wheel. And then made up for it by completely fabricating nonsense that led to millions upon millions of lives being ruined throughout the world and also here. And that's the Lincoln Project people also, who are now firmly within the Democratic Party. Democrats now have the Lincoln Project. They have the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld people, and they have the intelligence apparatus and the intelligence operatives that have never been right about anything. So they're doing really well. But I want to read you this. This is important. Quote, this is on October 6th. I have fully authorized the total declassification of any and all documents pertaining to the single greatest political crime in American history, the Russia hoax, which is true. The president tweeted October 6th. Likewise, the Hillary Clinton email scandal, no redactions. So we're going full force, full steam. And he needs to do that. Now, he stated now, if people say, oh, well, HA, your title, that's not my title. President Trump stated, I have fully authorized the total declassification of any and all documents. So, it's pretty good. I have fully authorized the total declassification of any and all documents pertaining to the greatest political crime in American history, the Russia hoax. Now, I think that he always knew he wasn't going to do this before the election. I think that President Trump needs to build. I mean, if anyone watches this channel who, I can't imagine anybody would watch this channel who has the ear of the president, but if anybody watches this channel who can relay this message to President Trump, Trump's legacy will live forever with an Assange pardon and a Snowden pardon. But primarily an Assange pardon. Even Edward Snowden stated, if there's one pardon, please give it to Julian Assange. Pardoning Julian Assange will cement Trump's legacy as one of the great presidents we've ever had, because the left will have to contend with looking into a mirror. See, the vitriol and the venom, I know that there's a great movement behind Julian Assange, and there should be. He's a hero. He's a publisher. He publishes information that is then republished by the Washington Post and the New York Times, the Guardian, every publication on the planet. So those journalists are next in terms of Justice Department probes and indictments if this is a precedent that stands. But Trump, his legacy will live forever by pardoning Julian Assange, because he'll force the Democratic Party to look into a mirror. These people never had any evidence on Trump Russia. They never, when they claimed that somebody worked with Russia, like that, you even have former chess champions who were like, you would think that if you're a chess champion, you have a tremendous grasp of logic and reason and critical thinking skills. I mean, that's what chess gives you. But when you cite intelligence operatives who just fabricate things, that's not logic and reason. When they accuse Assange or Trump or Michael Flynn or Carter Page or George Papadopoulos of working alongside Russian intelligence officials, the evidence they have is non-existent. It's circumstantial evidence that they created. The Steele dossier was purchased, okay? That was a document that's complete rubbish and nonsense and garbage and fabricated. It could have been written on toilet paper. It probably would be worth more if it were written on toilet paper. That's how bad it is. It was gossip and salacious nonsense and hearsay that was purchased by Clinton and the DNC. They used that because they're so suspicious and they want to protect the country from Facebook ads because we were infiltrated by another country during an election. We have no clue if the Facebook ads or Twitter bots or DNC emails swung even one vote. Okay? I remember I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet. I don't know if I told you. I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Washington Post. I was the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the that was according to the Huffington Post. This is according. I was the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. Anyway, you could see it on my website. My articles in the Hill, the Huffington Post, and the Salon went viral. And when the DNC emails came out, I was getting made fun of and mocked by the Hillary Clinton supporters on Twitter. I don't have Twitter right now. I don't have Facebook or Twitter. I've deleted those accounts. If you see anyone impersonating me, they're breaking the law. But when the DNC emails came out, all I heard from Clinton supporters was, "That's all you got? That's all you got? Oh, weak, nothing." Then they lost, and it was like, Russia! So they never had any evidence that Russia swung the election because of Facebook ads or emails. They never had any evidence at all. They never performed any kind of analysis. They never said, oh, well, these voters in these swing states swung to Trump because of this ad, and nobody can even name a Facebook ad. So the dossier, in addition to Alexander Downer's he didn't even testify, his gossip about a conversation with George Papadopoulos. Think about this. The FBI investigated and charged George Papadopoulos for a process. He forgot the date where he met somebody, Joseph Mifsud. He forgot the date, but he was never charged with conspiring alongside Russian intelligence officials. Neither was Donald Trump Jr. or Assange or Michael Flynn or Carter Page or anybody, because it never happened. So then they said, we have this dossier, and then there's this suspicious meeting. Imagine you're meeting somebody at a bar, and then that is utilized to ruin your life. And then they said, we have all this information. We're going to indict intelligence officials. Go look at the indictment. It's pretty. This is just basic, you don't have to be an attorney. It's just basic logic. The indictment says that based on Company One's research, it doesn't say John Brennan or the ODNI report compiled by James Clapper, that, by the way, is only highly to moderately confident. It comes with the DHS and ODNI reports come with hilarious warranty disclaimers. Not only is the wonderful intelligence community wrong about everything, but they also have warranty disclaimers. Why? Because they don't want to get sued. They say we're just, it's our hunch because we're really smart. That's why John Brennan's I don't do intelligence, I don't do evidence, I do intelligence. Okay? And then you have Democrats say, this is like Cold War stuff. It's no, it's not. You're making everything up. For 30 years, you've been making everything up. And even before then, even before the Berlin Wall fell, you were barely getting anything right to begin with. But then they had, this whole thing, President Trump is angling towards giving the entire establishment in D.C. a gigantic orange middle finger, and he should, because then they said, we found the intelligence officials, and this is what they did on that date, and then the Cozy Bears and this that. They have no evidence. It's all based on Company One. Company One was outsourced. It's the third-party tech firm that was outsourced by Democrats. The DNC paid for a tech firm. They literally paid for their own myth. That's what I've been trying to tell people for 4 years. They paid for their own myth. And everybody on the left believes it because it suits them. They don't ask for direct evidence there. For when anything Lynn Wood or Sidney Powell or President Trump claim, where's the direct evidence? Then you have Caligula, Biden's son's emails, where it's thank you for helping us meet your father. Well, where's the direct evidence that he met? It's within the email that they didn't disavow. It's right there. Because he has a really serious substance abuse issue, and he probably left the laptop in a drunken stupor at a computer repair store. You're dealing with people who just leave computers at it's not even about wealth. Are you so irresponsible you just leave a computer and leave it there to rot, to just rust forever? How many computers does a person have to own to just forget a computer at a computer repair store? It's a laptop. Did he not think that, where's that laptop? Yeah. He just left it at the computer repair store. And we have thousands upon thousands of emails backed up by his business associates. One in particular that spoke out before the election. The Democrats are so entangled in such corruption, it's unbelievable. Then they're like, can Trump pardon Trump Jr. and Ivanka and Jared and Eric Trump? For what? For what? Well, the Southern District is going after the Trump organization, which they were a part of. It's okay, well, keep on grasping at straws there. You have nothing, just like you had nothing on Michael Flynn. You had nothing on Carter Page. You had nothing on George Papadopoulos. You had nothing on anybody. And you definitely have nothing on Assange. Because what they're going after him for is allegedly helping Chelsea Manning, but she was already pardoned. Or basically, it wasn't. It was basically pardoned by President Obama. So President Obama can actually essentially pardon Chelsea Manning, but then they're going after Assange for allegedly assisting Chelsea Manning in what she was pardoned for. Then you hear the nonsense. Well, this was he's a traitor. He's a tremendous. Where was he? What did he do to help any adversary? Well, the Russians benefited. How did the Russians benefit from anything he published? I'd like to know this. The only people who benefited are the people of the United States of America. Not one person has had his or her life altered or harmed in any way, because that person's name would have been front and center and celebrated by all of media. You see what Assange did. You see what WikiLeaks did. You see what they did. But they haven't done this. Media has nothing on Julian Assange. They just want retribution. That's it. He aired out their dirty laundry that everyone kind of knew, but we just didn't have confirmation. And then Debbie Wasserman Schultz resigned in disgrace. And 4 other Democrat DNC officials resigned. 2016 will live forever. Will live forever. Because I do believe that President Trump is smart enough to understand that he's gonna have to set the groundwork, the ball in motion for 2024, because I believe he's gonna run again, and he'll win easily. You saw what happened on election night. I don't want to venture into dangerous territory, but we all saw what happened. So he'll do the same thing, and hopefully Republicans grow a spine and protect this country from election month and year. But anyway, I think that he's going to, based on his statements, and that wasn't the only one. There's a litany of, we're going to do this, we're going to declassify this, we're going to declassify that. President Trump is very good at chess. Then they say like 5D, 6D, 7. I'm just talking about regular chess. Like, he understands how his moves on a just regular chessboard, not 20 dimension, how his moves are going to work out, in the short term and the long term. And he understands that declassifying a great deal of material sheds light on all the corruption and lies and deceit. A good percentage of the time, or actually most of the time, they're classifying information simply to hide their own corruption. In the past 4 years, have Democrats discussed actual threats to the safety and the lives of Americans? Have they discussed actual, national security concerns pertaining to, the welfare of this country? No, everything has been predicated upon their chances, their electoral chances. Oh, Russia infiltrated our election. This is oh my God, this is, Trump in Helsinki. What did they want him to do in Helsinki with Putin? What did they want him to do? Like, clothesline him, drop kick him? What did they want? These people are like demented. They're so warped in their brains. How dare you? You sat there and you didn't tell him that he hacked the DNC. It's like, what was Trump supposed to say? Based on high to moderate confidence, you infiltrated my political rival that, many of whom had servers outside the United States government. And this is based on high to moderate confidence, Putin. What was he supposed to say? The whole thing was fabricated anyway. Everybody knows this. Yeah, if there's one political party that Russia doesn't fear, it's the Democratic Party. My God almighty. They would have actually done a lot better with Democrats, with Clinton for the past 4 years, because it's President Trump who gave Ukraine military aid. It wasn't President Obama, so I don't know how they convinced themselves that, and Trump didn't, dissolve NATO, so I don't know, what was the issue? How did they convince themselves? Well, you had a whole bunch of very smart people talk about what Putin really wants, and he's really afraid of Trump, and then they believe it. They believe the tinfoil hat people are on the left, Democrats. They fabricate the biggest fantasies, but they have media, And when you ask for direct evidence, they say, well, all the smartest people believe it, so it's true. Anyway, if you've lasted this long on this segment, William Barr resigned primarily because he knows that the you-know-what's going to hit the fan for the D.C. establishment, I think. You're going to have Radcliffe and others declassifying a whole bunch of information. I think. I can only, I'm not certain. I'm highly to moderately confident, like James Clapper. And I do believe that that President Trump will pardon Julian Assange because I think it cements Trump's legacy as a hero, not only for conservatives, but also for a great many on the left. There's a great many people on the left who simply cannot say that they like Trump or that Trump isn't, in their mind, such a bad leader, because they would get the response, the apoplectic, seething, fuming response from fellow leftists. So they keep it on the down low, and they don't tell anybody. But there's a great many people who either admire or they're okay with Trump on the left, on the far left, and within the Democratic Party. But this will cement his legacy and help propel him into 2024. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Give me your thoughts. What do you think? I'll be back in about 5 to 6 hours.